Money. Universities deal with it and how to allocate it between athletics and academics every day. While the top programs have the ability to bring in millions of dollars every year through athletics, academics are ultimately the goal of all higher education institutions. So what do they do with that? We went ahead and interviewed Dave Gruby, a former Division I athlete at the University of Southern Alabama and now the athletic director at Cornerstone University, which recently built a brand new $5 million baseball stadium.
Well, what I think is appropriate is what works for every institution, the mission of the institution, the values of the institution, what they're using athletics for. I mean, obviously, if you look at some of the large D1 schools in America, the powerhouse football teams and so forth, you're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars. But the value of them putting and investing those dollars into athletics or into football, they get, the exposure, they get a lot that comes from that. And it fits within the mission of that particular university. At a small university, you don't have the same values, you don't have the same mission, and you don't have the same pressures. So a smaller school is going to respond differently to how they invest financially into their athletics programs and how that fits that particular mission of the university.
Students are also an important voice on this topic, as it's a lot of their money that goes towards athletics and academics. We got the opportunity to talk to some students at Cornerstone University and see what they had to say.
Well, I think athletics is a huge part to academics. If you look at D1 schools, a lot of the major funding comes from their sport contracts or their deals with Nike, Adidas, or NBC, or whatever it might be. So although that academics should be your first reason going to college, the athletics play a huge part in not one just getting students but also funds. So I think the balance, there's a balance, there's a difference between paying athletes and actually having that money to support.
So I feel like more money goes into athletics purely because of the exposure that it brings to the school. I feel like at the same time it is well deserved though, because athletes do bring more exposure to the school, but at the same time I feel like that money, percentages of that money should go back to academics, just because that not everybody's going to be a pro athlete, so you need to build up the academic programs.
More of it goes towards athletics than does academics, but at the same time athletes deserve that money because they do bring attention to the school, and their schedules are a lot harder between practice and games, so it's fair, but at the same time we come to graduate and get a degree in something and not sports, so I think a little more money should go towards academics.
I think colleges put the right amount of money into athletics because it brings in a wide variety of students to the university, and athletics develops you as a person, as their character, and the way they go about life.
We had the opportunity to talk to Coach Pete Millar, who is the assistant baseball coach at Cornerstone University. Coach Millar has a master's degree in sports management from Indiana State University.
Sure, I think it probably depends on the school and the circumstance. You talk about sort of our big-time college athletics, sort of like the Power 5 conferences, with operating budgets of upwards of 70, 80 million, sometimes 110, 120 million. I think if you are one of those schools, that you should not have subsidies from the student body. I know some of them do not, which I think is great. Others do probably allocate maybe 6 to 8%, maybe 10%, which is the upwards range of 8 to 10 to 13 million dollars, which I think should be more fiscally responsible than that. So if you have an operating budget of $110 million and you have a $10 million deficit, then you should probably just operate at like $90 million.
While some donations come to universities and colleges with a specific purpose for athletic or academic projects, a lot of these funds have to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis, and those who have to make those decisions are not in an enviable position. From Cornerstone University, I'm Nate Vanderwall.